Hello, people of YouTube. So I decided to do this PBS quiz that I did months ago, just on a whim, because I was pretty much bored. And so I decided to do this quiz. It's called Are You Sexist? Anyway, much bored. So let's take this quiz, and I'm going to basically show you how to basically beat it. Okay, I wonder if this thing is sharing. I mean, playing. And so, okay, there we go. Now, okay, first of all, let's look at how this is designed. Now, it's written by Laura Santhanum. Santhanum. And okay, so she's one of PBS's feminist bloggers. Keyword, feminist bloggers. So keep that in mind. Now, the phrasing of the questions or phrases, however they're set up a specific way, like this one. Many women have a quality of purity that few men possess. Okay, now, no matter how you answer this, doesn't matter if you're a man or woman and you take this quiz, you're fucked either way. I'll tell you why. If you disagree strongly, you're saying that women have no quality as a human being, but if you disagree strongly, you're saying women have no quality as a human being. But if you say agree strongly, you're saying that women have to live up to a certain standard. Now, as for me, look, there are many women who believe, and it's men too, there are men and women equally who believe that they are like the best human being that God gave birth to. So for my own sanity and to prove to you that these questions are set up in a trick way, I'm going to disagree slightly. I'm not going to strongly disagree, but I'm going to disagree slightly because there is that mentality that some men and women have that, oh, they're the most perfect human being, that they can never be flawed. Okay? Question 2. Women should be cherished and protected by men. Okay, here's another trick question. Women should be cherished and protected by men. Okay. There's only one way to answer this. There really is. And the reason why I say that is because if you answer within this region, in this region alone, you're going to be labeled a sexist, because this is a way that a lot of feminist bloggers choose to phrase their statements, so they point the sexist fingers to men, when men like me, who are not sexist in any way whatsoever, so we could be labeled one. But look, do I think women should be cherished and protected by men? And I have to agree with Mr. Epstein. I seen him taking the video of him taking the quiz. If you're in a relationship, and doesn't matter who you're in a relationship with, doesn't matter if you're in a gay relationship or a straight relationship. I'm in neither at this point, but if you're in a relationship, yes, you should cherish your partner. You should protect your partner. But if you have genuinely no idea who someone is, like it could be your neighbor for Christ's sake, and you have no idea who they are, should you protect them? Should you cherish them? No, be respectful to them, but that's about it. So I'm going to disagree somewhat. Okay, women seek to gain power by gaining control over men. Okay, now let's be real. There are women who are business savvy and there are men who are not. But the men and women who are business savvy have a very strong, have a very evident gain of power. But the way this is framed, it's not like putting it in perspective of business savvy wise. It's just putting it in general. Now, do women want to control men? Do women want to like tell men what to do? Well, some do. Let's be honest. There are some women out there who love to control men. But there are women out there, for the most part, that don't want to do that. So I'm going to say disagree strongly, because I know women that don't want to control anyone except themselves, because they feel like they shouldn't have to coddle or tell anyone or advise anyone how to live. So yeah, I strongly disagree with this one. Every man ought to have a woman he adores. Okay, this is a trick question. Massively a trick question. I'll tell you why. The way it's framed, every man, overgeneralization, every man ought to have a woman whom he adores. Key phrasing. Every man ought to have a woman he adores. This goes back to the 1950s mentality that women are the weaker sex. If you're in a relationship with someone, yes, you are going to adore the person you're in a relationship with. But if it's just, even if you're not in a relationship, if you have a sibling, if you have a sister, if you have a cousin, mother, of course you're going to adore your mother. I mean, tell me, which man or woman out there does not adore their mother or father? But just in general, every man ought to have a woman who he adores. No, that's like if I phrase this question, every woman ought to have a man whom she adores. No, I disagree. I disagree somewhat with this. Men are incomplete without women. I actually strongly disagree with this, because regardless of what your gender is, guess what? You're not incomplete without someone in a relationship. You can have friends and family and be just fine. 6, women exaggerate problems they have at work. Let's be real. Everyone does this. It's not just women, it's men too. But does every woman do it? No. But do some? Yes. It's like with guys too. Does every guy do it? No. But do some guys do it? Yes. So I disagree slightly with this. Once a woman gets a man to commit to her, she usually tries to put him on a tight leash. Well, let's be real. And this goes with men as well. Yes, there are men and women who, once they find someone to be in a relationship with, they basically just want to tell the person, look, don't talk to your parents, don't talk to your friends, you're mine, and that's all you can talk to. And I'm the only person you can be with. Yes, there are men and women that do this, but do all women do this? No. Once again, I disagree slightly. When women lose to men in a fair competition, they typically complain about being discriminated against. This did happen to me in the past, but in general, no, I disagree. There are women out there who are steamy eye realists, and there are a lot of men who are not. So I disagree strongly with this, because a lot of women do like competition. Many women get a kick out of teasing men by seeming sexually available and then refusing male advances. Okay, now this is where guys fall into the trap, that the way this person is phrasing their questions. I'll tell you why. Because this is basically saying, oh, men use women as sex objects, which is not the case. I mean, some men do, let's be honest. There are douchebags out there who basically want women for their bodies and their bodies alone. Glenn Quagmire, even though he's a cartoon character, is an example of this type of douchebag I'm talking about. But in this instance, I strongly disagree, because yes, women and men do this when they're flirting, but in general, women are not sex objects and neither are men. 10. Women compared to men tend to have a superior moral sensibility. Okay, now this one, I disagree strongly with this. I'll tell you why. In a lot, if we're talking biologically speaking, but and just in general, women are more selfless than men are. I mean, there are men who are selfless, but there's a lot of men who think they're superior over another guy because he has a different opinion. But are there women who think they're superior over men? Yeah, but in general, there are women who are more selfless than selfish. So I strongly disagree with this. 11. Men should be willing to sacrifice their own well-being in order to provide financially for the women in their lives, or women. I agree slightly to this. I'll tell you why. Because, hold on a sec, though. It's a trick question, though. The way they're phrasing it, though. But if look, they're not putting in the context of relationship, but if they were phrasing in that way, I would say I agree slightly, but just in general, no. I disagree somewhat with this. 12. Feminists are making unreasonable demands of men. Okay, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker right here. Unreasonable demands of men. Well, there are women who think feminists are making unreasonable demands of other women. Well, I mean, me personally, I disagree slightly with this, because there are women still do face problems in this country that haven't been solved yet. But for the most part, women pretty much do have a comfortable life here in America compared to Saudi Arabia. So I disagree slightly with this. But there are still problems that women face in America that need to be changed drastically. What's your gender identity? Okay, here's the kicker. Now, I'm male. I'm a pansexual male. But if you answer male, you're going to be sexist. If you answer female, you'll still be sexist, but maybe on a lower level. Other, you don't identify as a gender or prefer not to answer. If you want to override this whole quiz, I'm going to do prefer not to answer. Next. Please identify your range. 18 to 34, I'm 22. Do you live in the United States? Yes. Please choose the state you're from. Pennsylvania. Well, some college. I went to a year at Penn State. Prefer not to answer, really. It's not important. I mean, I got a high school diploma, degree, however you want to say it. Some people say it, oh, I have my high school diploma, I have my high school degree. You get my point. Some people like have I have a year's worth of college, but not really much for this answer. So I'm gonna do you know what the hell, high school or less. Prefer not to answer. Y'all watching the stream don't need to know what my financial status is. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? There's always a way to beat it, because if you know how the questions are phrased, you know and you know how to defeat the quiz. So if I were to answer my gender, I would be a little more than this. But since I prefer not to answer my gender, I'm 1. My hostile sexism, which is behavior that overly threatens or intimidates, is 1. So it's so minute. The average man, in a generalization, is 2.4 more likely to be hostile in sexism, and the average woman is 1.6. I'm a 1. So my hostile sexism, and I know who I am. I'm not sexist, but is a 1. Now, benevolent sexism perpetuates gender-based prejudice more subtly, feeding the notion that wonderful but weak women need men to protect them, and protect them, and ultimately justifies gender inequality. I'm a 0.83. I'm less than the average man and the average woman. Yeah. So, let me save the URL for this quiz, because I'll put it in the description box below. But yeah, I basically beat the quiz. I read the context of the questions, and I knew what to answer. Now, did the answers that I gave, are they generally how I feel? Yeah, because I'm not a sexist. I don't see women less than human. I don't see women as sexual objects. And so I see women as human beings who are, like men, struggle in this cancer of a country that we live in. Yes, the United States is a cancerous country, but it's better than Saudi Arabia or Russia, or at the moment, England. And even Brazil, because Zika virus. Zika virus. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry, Blasphemous HD, but I have to do this. Twizzles.